I flew across the country for my nephew's graduation. I was so proud until I sat down and heard him thank everyone who believed in me, especially my real family. My sister looked at me and whispered, "Don't be so sensitive." He meant the ones who were present. I'd been sending money for years. Covered tuition gaps. Paid for his laptop. Not one word. At dinner, I offered a toast. He cut me off and said, "Let's not make this about you." I left early. The next week, my bank flagged a $900 transfer. Guess whose name was on it? I'll start from the beginning. I'm 52, single, and I've lived in Akron, Ohio my whole life. My younger sister Dana moved out to Sacramento, California after she married Brian back in the early 2000s. They had one kid, Jake. I don't have kids of my own, so Jake's always been kind of like a son to me. At least that's what I thought. Growing up, Jake and I were close. I'd send birthday gifts every year, even when money was tight. When he got into college, Dana called me in a panic one night saying they didn't have enough to cover the deposit. I wired over $1,800 the next day. No questions asked. Over the next 4 years, I sent thousands. Quietly. Never asked for anything back. Covered tuition gaps. Bought him a $1,200 laptop, even paid to keep his car running when he called me directly saying he needed help. I'd always been Uncle Steve, the one who came through when nobody else did. So when Dana invited me to Jake's graduation, I booked a round-trip flight, reserved a hotel, and even took off a week from work just to be there for him. I was excited. Proud, honestly. It felt like something we both earned. The ceremony was on a Saturday, held outdoors on the college lawn. Hot day. Folding chairs, cheap podium, families waving signs and cheering. I found my seat next to Dana and Brian. Jake's name was called, and I stood up like a fool, clapping like I'd just won something. I had my phone out, filming it all. Then came his speech. He was one of those chosen to speak on behalf of the graduating class. I sat up straight, smiling. I figured maybe, just maybe, he'd say something. I didn't need a shout-out, just a mention, something to show I mattered. He started out thanking his professors, then friends. Then he paused, looked over at the crowd, and said, "And most of all, I want to thank everyone who believed in me, especially my real family." I felt that line punch me in the chest. He looked right at Dana and Brian. His voice even softened when he said it, real family. I waited. Thought maybe he'd add, "and my Uncle Steve, who supported me from afar." Nothing. He moved on. I felt like I was sitting on a different planet. I turned to Dana and whispered, "Did he forget I came all the way out here?" She leaned in and whispered back, "Don't be so sensitive." He meant the ones who were present. Present? Like physically? Like I hadn't been present for the last 4 years, just because I wasn't in California? I said nothing the rest of the ceremony. That night, we all went to a family dinner. Some restaurant in downtown Sacramento. Jake's friends, a couple of Dana's neighbors, even Brian's mom was there. Everyone was toasting, laughing. I waited for the right moment, stood up, raised my glass. "I just want to say how proud I am." Jake didn't even let me finish. "Let's not make this about you, Uncle Steve." People laughed. Dana giggled into her wine glass. I sat down. My hands were trembling, but I smiled like I was fine. I pushed the steak around my plate. Left before dessert. Flew back to Ohio the next morning. Thought I'd put it behind me. Tried to tell myself I overreacted. A week later, my bank called. Fraud alert. A flagged transfer for $900 from an old linked account I hadn't touched in years. I'd set it up for Dana, back when she needed help with auto-paying her phone bill and utilities. They said it had been used to buy electronics, some store in Elk Grove. When I asked for the shipping name, the guy said it casually, like it was nothing. Jake Whitmore. My nephew. The one I flew across the country for. The one who called me not real family. He used my bank info like it was nothing. I didn't call Dana right away. I wanted to be sure before I made it a thing. I pulled up old emails. Found the one from 5 years ago where she'd asked me to help set up automatic payments for her phone bill. I'd connected one of my checking accounts to her utility logins, temporary, she said. She'd take it off once they got back on their feet. I guess they never did. I checked the account activity. Turns out that $900 wasn't the first hit. There'd been small charges, $45 here, $60 there. Going back almost 2 years. Mostly stores in Sacramento. Some food delivery, gas, a car rental once. It added up. Just under $3,000. My stomach turned. I called Dana. She picked up like nothing was wrong. Hey, Steve. Everything okay? Not really, I said. Do you know anything about a $900 charge to an electronics place in Elk Grove? Under Jake's name. Silence. Oh, that must have been a mistake. Jake probably thought it was the card I use. He used my account, Dana. Well, it's kind of the family's account, isn't it? That hit me harder than Jake's speech. No, it's my account. I helped you once. That doesn't mean you can just keep using it. Don't be dramatic. You've got the money. You've always had more than us. I couldn't even speak for a second. I felt my blood pressure rising. So that's how it is? You and Jake think you're owed this. She didn't deny it. Just said, let's not fight about money, Steve. I hung up. I sat there in my kitchen in Akron for an hour, staring at my laptop, watching the numbers, the dates, the charges, remembering all those times I gave, all the times I asked for nothing. I wasn't just angry. I felt used. Like they never saw me as family, just a wallet with legs. I went to the bank, froze the account, filed a fraud report. I didn't care that it was family anymore. They crossed a line. 2 days later, Dana called me again. Left a voicemail this time. Steve. Jake's financial aid is frozen. He can't register for his summer internship because he used your card and now there's a flag. Can we just fix this quietly? I didn't call back. Then Jake messaged me on Facebook. First time in months. Wow, you're really doing this to us? Over a few charges? I thought you cared about me. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I typed, I did. You didn't. I blocked him. 3 days later, I started getting texts from extended family. My aunt in Dayton. A cousin in Florida. Dana had started telling people I'd cut off Jake's funding in the middle of his job search. She left out the part where she and her son were stealing from me. One cousin even called me selfish. Said, you know they don't have much. You could have just helped them out. I snapped. I took screenshots of the charges. Made a spreadsheet. Sent it to every single family member who messaged me. I didn't say a word, just let the evidence speak. Silence after that. Until Brian called me. That's when things turned. Brian calling me was unexpected. We hadn't spoken one-on-one in maybe 10 years. He's always been polite, a little standoffish. Never really liked me, I think. Saw me as Dana's weird older brother who made more money but didn't understand their struggles. He called on a Tuesday night. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to pick up. Hey, Steve. It's Brian. Mind if I talk for a minute? His voice sounded off. Tired. Not angry. Just drained. Sure, I said. What's going on? He took a breath. I didn't know about the charges. Not all of them, at least. I knew Dana had access to something, but I didn't know Jake was using your account. I stayed quiet. Let him keep talking. I told them both it was wrong. That you were doing us a favor. I told Jake he needed to apologize. He refused. Said you were acting like a victim. I closed my eyes. My jaw clenched. I'm sorry, Brian said. I should have stepped in sooner. But I think you should know something. I sat up straight. Jake's been lying about a lot. Not just to you. What do you mean? His scholarship? It was taken away last year. He's been using the money you sent to make it look like everything was fine. Dana helped him cover it up because she didn't want you to judge him. He dropped 2 classes. Failed another. He's not graduating this summer. He walked the stage, yeah, but he's short credits. My stomach dropped. So the whole graduation was for show. I couldn't believe it. They lied to everyone, Brian said. You weren't the only one. Dana's mom flew out from Oregon. She still doesn't know. I didn't agree with it, Steve. But I didn't fight hard enough. I sat in silence, trying to process it. Jake didn't graduate. He used my money to fake it. Bought a cap and gown. Took staged photos. Invited family from across the country for a lie. He needs help, Brian said. But I don't think it should come from you anymore. After we hung up, I opened Jake's Instagram. The photos were all still there. Him in a gown, holding a diploma, smiling like nothing was wrong. Hundreds of likes. Dozens of comments saying, "So proud," and "You did it." I clicked on one photo. Looked closer. The diploma in his hand, it didn't have a name. Just the college crest. Blank. He never earned it. That's when something in me changed. This wasn't just a betrayal. It was a scam. I couldn't let it slide anymore. I gave them 4 years of support, thousands of dollars, and trust. And they gave me a lie. A performance. Like I was just an ATM they had to keep happy. I wanted the truth out. So I called the college. I told them I was a relative of Jake Whitmore and had questions about his graduation status. At first, they were tight-lipped. Said they couldn't share student info. But then I mentioned the staged ceremony, the photos, and the fact that multiple family members had traveled across the country under false pretenses. The lady on the phone got real quiet. Then she said, "Sir, Mr. Whitmore is currently flagged for academic probation. He is not eligible for graduation at this time. If he represented otherwise, that's a violation of our student code." That was all I needed. I gathered everything. The charges, the fake diploma, screenshots from his social media, the call log with the bank. I put it all in a PDF. Then I sent it to the college, to the head of his department, and finally, to every family member who had been there that day. The reaction was swift. Jake's internship offer was pulled. The company found out about the fraud through mutual contacts. Somebody forwarded my email. They called it a misrepresentation of credentials. Dana blew up my phone. Left angry voicemails saying I had ruined her son's life. She said I embarrassed them in front of the whole family. I didn't answer. Then she went online. She posted on Facebook. Said I was mentally unstable, that I hated seeing others succeed, and that I attacked Jake out of jealousy. I didn't reply. Instead, I posted the PDF. No words, just the truth. Her post came down 2 hours later. Jake deleted his Instagram. Brian texted me the next day. They're moving out of Sacramento. Going to stay with Dana's cousin in Oregon. Jake's going to take a semester off. I wrote back, "Good. Let him sit with what he did." Weeks went by. Then, out of nowhere, I got a letter in the mail. Handwritten. From Jake. He didn't apologize. He blamed me. Said I didn't understand what pressure was like and that I overreacted to protect my ego. I tore it up. That should have been the end. But I had one last move. I filed a small claims case in Sacramento for the $2,932 they stole from my account. I had the records. The evidence. The paper trail. They didn't even show up. I won by default. A court order now forces Dana to repay me in monthly installments. The first check arrived last week. $75. Signed by her hand. It was crooked. Like her pride was shaking as she wrote it. I sat on my porch in Akron, Ohio, holding that check in my hand, watching the mail truck disappear down the road. For the first time in years, I felt peace. Not because I got the money back, but because they finally had to face what they did. You want to treat me like I'm not family? Fine. But I won't be your fool. Not anymore.